be checking my ums and my...
So while you're doing that, how long have you been doing this? And first off, what is it called?
Okay, well, what I do is I draw cartoons at parties. The difference in that is that I do draw electronically, so I am drawing on a touch screen here. I already started drawing Lori. I draw in full color, okay, I gotta start again.
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay. You know what? It's dark, so I'm gonna work fast because that's okay. Actually, I can see your eyes better without the glasses because there was a shadow. So I draw on a touchscreen in full color and it goes on big screens, and I print it out. But what people they ask me, they'll say the words in a certain way, but there's a contextual energy underneath that I can hear. So if someone, says, "Oh, I want money," and it's not really money they want. They want the feeling of freedom or some kind of control, and that'll come through. It's not like it's literal, but there's an energy where I'll feel that energy inside of me. So their experience, I experience. And then I just start drawing a cartoon. And so even my sense, that psychic sense that I have, is more of a cartoony thing. So I'll think, well, that's funny to draw. And someone looks at it and they go, "Oh, how'd you know about that?" And I was just goofing around drawing something. So it's not like I had a plan. So even when I work events, I don't really like to know much about my clients ahead of time. So I would just be spontaneous in the moment. I mean, certain events I might pre-research if it's some kind of industry where I've never heard of it before, and I'll just get a sense of it. But the rest of it's all spontaneity and just... If you're present and quiet, not needing to be right, you can actually get the answers quite quickly. They'll come to you and just lay it down as you get it. But the need to be right will make you blind. So that's kind of how I work with it.
Wow.
And so we all had that. We've all had that moment where we can actually feel we're feeling beings. So you've come in the house before and you knew she was in a bad mood. And you didn't know what was going on, but you could feel the cold chill in the air.
Exactly.
And it was just this stillness that you could feel, and there was no content to it, but you could feel it. You're having a moment. There's something that's under your skin, and you're ticked about something, and he will feel it before he even walks in. So we have that feeling. Just like if you're listening to somebody and you're talking to them, and you can hear them not hear you, or they're off someplace else and not being present with you. Yeah, you can too, right? So. But we'll feel lots of things inside ourselves. But the inexperienced person, if they'll feel something, might have something unresolved within themselves. They will have their own story that matches that feeling, and they'll pour gasoline over that story and light themselves on fire and just burn in their own story, feeling someone else's stuff at that moment. So you have to be present with what's inside of you, and the more you can face your shadow in that, you can clean that, then you can be present for others and not make it about you. They're having an experience, and you let them have their experience, whatever it is. If that makes sense at all.
Cool.
Yeah, it does.
I like
it
the
really
way
does.
that thought is. Yeah.
Well, I learned that a hard way. I mean, just being, having my sense become so sensitive that, and feeling so much, it took a while to get, I got the opportunity to unlearn me in many ways. And so now it's my first priority. If I'm feeling triggered, what's going on inside of me first? So if someone says something and I'm feeling it, it's me. And then I'll look for what's in me first before I even react to them. And if you make anything an enemy, you are caught in a battle within yourself. And it takes up weapons and it wastes your time and energy, either trying to be right or making them wrong. This is just, this is not just, and it becomes, it's a time waster, an energy waster. And you really can't force someone to change their mind. They have to kind of come to that conclusion themselves. They'll see if what they're doing is working or not working, the fruits, what it's bearing, if they're getting connection in life, not getting connection. I mean, it's such a personal thing. Telling someone they're, a dumbass, it doesn't work all the time.
They already know they're a dumbass.
They might know that, but it doesn't help them, right? It's not, they can't hear it that way because then they're in a defensive mode trying to protect that idea. Because they might be experiencing something and interpreting what they see through a series of filters that aren't accurate. We don't have accurate filters. But what they're experiencing is, like unresolved emotional conflict, an influence, growing up that someone said something to them and now this is how the world works, and now they look through that filter. We got someone in trust who might be a bit warped, and they'll have a worldview that we'll take on because we love them. We have a lot of influences in life that just aren't true, but, they come from trusted sources. And you have to challenge every source, no matter what it is in life.
Yep.
Because they'll take you for a ride, and not intentionally. But so even if you're lied to and you act out based on a lie, you're still responsible for the consequences of the fruits of your actions and everything else, even if like doesn't matter who said what. Even if you're a patient in the hospital and you go undergo a procedure, even if they screw up, you're responsible because you made the choice along the way. You said yes, because you put all your responsibility in someone else. That it leaves you're still one holding the bag, no matter what happens. So this is, I guess it's a kind of a growing up for a lot of people they haven't really experienced before, because we like to believe that what we invested in is true or just or is working, and usually it isn't. But it's just how it is. Life's always been this way. So we're just doing now I got your face close enough here, even though it's quite dark. Now this will just be a fun little cartoon to go with what I know about you guys so far. And so how I got into the work that I get into is actually as an artist. I mean, I grew up in the rhubarb in a small town in southern British Columbia, just north of the Idaho-Washington border, in an area called the Kootenays. And I was in a K-12 school with 300 kids. And I had my dad from grade 6 to grade 11 for something. So it was like being a political prisoner full time.
Oh boy.
And they didn't have any idea, this is the 80s, this is still the dying resource town thing going on. So you had the mill, the bush, or university. And the circumstances none of them were there for me that way, that I could see it as a choice for me. And so I had a lot of contraction within myself, which I had to unlearn. But what happened is that along the way is that, I would just jump into things, and it was almost like there was maybe a divine push and little opportunities would come up, which we all get those. Some walk the door, some don't. If I got a real strong internal ding, I would burn the boats on the beach and just jump into something because I would just feel so strongly. So, for example, computers like this. I saw a guy in a Starbucks once using one of these, something like it, an older version, like the lower technology, and he was doing accounting on it. And I knew about tablets, but I'd never seen one before, up live. And I said, "Oh, mister, can I try your computer?" And he opened up the Microsoft Paint program. I drew it a little bit, and I could not sleep for 2 weeks. I just know I can make money with this. I know I can. And then so I begged, borrowed, or steal whatever I could get together, whatever cash I could get, and I bought a computer. And I think they were $4,000. This was in 2005 for these tablets. I had computers before, like these desktops, but like this, and that was a lot of money for me then. And I even had my son, who you met. He was just newborn, or just on the way. He was actually on the way when that happened. But I had to do it, so I went with it. And I tried home practicing to make it work, but I'm not the kind of guy that I do well without the energy of a crowd around me. I mean, I'm an introvert, I think, by nature, but when I'm drawing, for me, it's easy when there's a crowd around. I got ideas, boom, 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 it just comes like that, and I like things going fast. And so I was bored to tears at home working on it, so I just took a gig with it. I said, "Oh, fine, I'm going to start doing my jobs full time at parties like this." And I did it, and I worked the bugs out. And, once again, I had to. So, I mean, I guess one thing when I draw, I allow people to have their own experience of whatever I'm drawing. So, if they look at it and they think it sucks, well, they're absolutely... But if they think I'm a genius, they're more correct.
Yes.
But they're having their experience. Even then, their experience of love is within them. It's something that resonates with them, and they're happy. I'm just doing what I do. But if they're happy, then I've done my job well. Yeah. And they're free to be themselves in it. Your eyes are green?
Hazel.
Hazily green, yeah, I remember that. It is dark here, so
Should I go try and get a light? I've got my little camp light.
You know what, I'm just going to keep on rocking on here. I've got it. I'm just going to... Oh, I forgot to record my screen. Darn it. Okay, anyway, you'll get this. Forgot that part. Okay, so... And even when I started drawing for my first real art job, I used to actually work in the oil fields in Alberta, Canada, on the pipeline, X-raying welding. So, and I had a lot of jobs. I was hired from the neck down when I was younger. But I had this I saw this newspaper clipping in Vancouver for a film school there that was opening their animation program for classical animation with pencils and flipping papers, stuff like that. And I went to check it out, and at that time, because it was a brand new department they're opening up in the film school, I had the key qualifications of what they wanted in a serious animation student. I had a pulse. I like to draw, and I can get financing. I drew a cartoon on a sticky note, and I was accepted in that class, and that was like a turning point. So I jumped into it. So, and you know, and I was scared. You know, I was 23, I think, when I started, and it was my first drawing lesson since I was in 7th grade. You know, and so I'm trying to figure things out and, you know, get past myself in it. And there's some amazing artists who've had art their entire, you know, these are kids too. You know, they're a lot younger, but they've had art their whole lives, and they were so good. But you know, I found that I did okay. The course itself, I mean, it was a 10-month program. It cost $11,000 at the time, and this is in 1993 to 94. That's a lot of money for an 11-month program. But I got through it, and then there was no work to be had because animation, like a lot of industries at that time, are like a feast or a famine. So you know, you can either be working like crazy, you know, all the time, or you are not working. And so I got in on the studio by a just fluke. This guy who was a director. He was a former director from The Simpsons, but I think he was high a lot. And I got hired. He looked at me. He was making fun of my portfolio in front of me, and he saw I was there, and he goes, "Okay, come with me," because I was sitting in the waiting room. And he took me in the back, and he gave me this rudimentary job, just cleaning up some storyboards. But the studio had 4 productions going on. They were so busy that I fell through the cracks for about a month and a half.
Oh my gosh. And
I used to make $400 a week. That's all you made. And I got up to $500, and I think eventually 6. And, you know, and that's, so, you know, I make more in a weekend now than I used to make for a whole month, you know, just putting in all this time, and usually only having $19 in the bank. And so I couldn't get the $20 out to eat, you know, and it was a rough time, you know. That was probably the only really starving artist time I ever had, because I always thought it was ridiculous to be a starving artist because, you know, your lawyer can't draw. So I think my time is just as valuable if they can't draw. My job is communicating ideas. And, you know, it's not to demean anybody. It's just a specialty skill. So people, I think they assume when something's easy for them that they devalue it. You know, and then, but there's a cultural mindset. People say, well, artists, you could be a starving artist. And so people buy into the story of that. So I always would say I'm in art for the money, you know, just to say it that way, and people look at me like I was nuts. But you know, why not?
I like that. That's a great phrase.
But I mean, I'm in it actually. I'm not even in it for the drawing. I'm in it for the connection with people, and that's what I love the most. Is, you know, I'm meeting people, hearing what makes them tick inside, feeling what makes them tick. You know, I'm intensely curious about vibes, and it's something that's, I don't know how it is. It's my thing, you know, of how do I make that new bridge to connect in a new environment. So it could be any kind of culture, you know, Indian, Chinese, Vietnamese, Lao, African, you know, and even the Middle East, you know, native groups. It's unlimited. It's just they have a certain rhythm that they're looking at what they value. You can kind of feel that, and then that comes to the forefront. Or my energy, in which any kind of person will change for a guy in front of me. And it can be kind of rough. I had this one guy sit in front of me, and he was terrified of getting his cartoon done. He was not having it, but his girlfriend really wanted it really badly. And he sat down finally under duress, but he wasn't happy. He didn't say much to me, but I managed to pick enough out in the air to get something for him that he loved. And it was all about his dog. He was crazy about his dog, but he wouldn't say it, you know, but I caught it. And so I drew I'm drawing his cartoon, and he looks at me and he goes, finally he's talking, goes, "So do you drink to do this job?" I go, "No, almost never drink because it would slow me down and I can't feel what's going on around me, because booze is like is a barrier between your heart and your life. I mean, it's a painkiller, and it makes it so you can't even experience the other person or yourself." And so actually I'm drinking a green juice right now because I was in a juice fast at the time, and I'm drinking this, and he goes, "This guy's my age, he's in his 40s, he goes, Oh, Mr. Health Nut, are you drinking your f***ing green juice? You can beat that. Is that good, Mr. Health Nut? And I look at him, and I didn't bat an eyelash. I grabbed my green juice, and I says, after I'm done my delicious green juice, I'm going to celebrate with a huge bowel movement. And I drink it, and I make eye contact. I'm holding eye contact with him. And I just keep drawing like nothing happened. But his energy dropped. Like, it was like, he opened, he was good. Like, I just met him where he was. And he took his picture, walked away, but he came back 10 minutes later and he grabbed my hand and said, thank you, it's beautiful. But it was just, but it's not, there's no judgment. Like, even though he said that, I say things come out of my mouth at the moment. I can't believe I said that, but it just happened. So some people need a strong sense of safety, and some people need something really off the wall to open that. So that's kind of how I operate. So I'm actually almost done here. And so whenever I have a gig down here, I'm always saying yes to it. So I was just, before I was here, I was in Las Vegas working for a group. And now I'm off to Georgia for something.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
That's more of a course, but I'll get work when I'm down there.
Yeah.
I was all over the place. So cartooning has gotten me further around the world than anything else ever has. I mean, pipelining got me in the bush.
Yeah.
You know, so I was in the middle of, nowhere. It could be minus 40 degrees, and then centigrade or Fahrenheit minus 40. But then we get to minus 50, which is a whole other level of pain.
Yeah.
Or I'd be on a tugboats on a shore crew, and I'd be working on the steel, and I'd have my knuckles be bleeding, be just blowing kind of sleet and slush.
Ugh.
But these are character building things. I mean, these are the things that they kind of. I tell even my 12-year-old, that every crappy job you do makes you better at life. Not just because it was something bad, but you know how something works. You can see the mechanism of, how it works. You can help draw it better. You can. Just the functioning of life, I think, is important to know, instead of just taking things for granted of how that, is here or there. So I just tell them to celebrate it. So I said, even if you're doing dishes, pay attention to little details of what you're doing in it. Be present with it, because it's actually teaching you something else for later in life. I wouldn't have heard him either when I was his age. I would have told him, he's full of it. But one day that conversation will rattle in his head, and I'm sure he'll say I'm a genius, but not right now.
That's right.
I hold no illusions of that. But I tell him the things that I needed to hear when I was a kid, because, I didn't get that kind of mentorship or imagination about the world. I mean, it was, either you're valuable because of this, you follow this set of parameters, or you're not. And, I had one school teacher say, Mark, your drawing is, cute and stuff like that, but we've been fine in the 60s, but this is the real world. It's not going to work for you.
How encouraging.
That's okay. When I'm flying business class over his place, I'm always waving.
That's the way to do it.
But you know what it is? You can't get mad, because this is, when a person only has a limited experience of life, that's what they're working from. Right? So you can't even get upset about that. You can't get mad, at the ignorant for being ignorant because they're ignorant, right? Mm-hmm. That's only what they know. But what makes it more, I think, of a problem is the lack of receptivity that when you're presented with information. And my experience is that people, they'll usually shoot the messenger because they don't want to take responsibility for something. If I learn a new bit of information, it means I might have to change what I'm doing, and I'm pretty comfortable doing little as nothing as possible right now. Yeah. And I've seen that a lot with people. And so, but that's their privilege to burn their eyebrows on life as much as they want, or have life, be what it is. Because it's not my business. I just, in my work, I bring, whatever love I can in the moment. And it's not, when I mean love, it's just by being present, give them what they need in that moment, and let them have their own experience in it. And then they're free. You set them free, they move on, do what they got to do. It's their life, not my life. I can't remember, is your dog black? Now it's black out, so I can't see her.
Black and white.
Mostly black, but a little bit of white.
And some brown on her nose.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost done here. I can talk and draw, so it's... This is your first cartoon as a couple?
Yep.
Actually,
it's
yes, it
a huge
is.
step in a relationship.
After 17 and a half years, wow.
Nothing.
We're crossing another
Yeah,
threshold.
this is a biggie. Well, it's like I'm mostly working from memory here with this, because honestly,
I know.
but it's okay. I don't mind. I mean, like, we're just doing the best we can at the moment. We got to work with here.
Oh, goodness.
That doesn't sound good.
That's the sound of no maintenance. Is that a horse trailer?
I can't tell.
I'm not sure.
Looks like a log truck to me. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's garbage.
Some kind of big
It does look like
flatbed truck.
a logging trailer.
I wonder where they're going.
Maybe they're that one trailer.
Or maybe they're going to dump their trash in our dumpsters.
Could be.
But they're full. Good luck.
Yeah. I
So,
don't know where they're going. They don't belong down here, I think.
so the last little bit here is gonna organ it up for you. This is really my first time hanging out in Oregon this road trip.
Really?
So it's been super fun. It feels like home, so I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna come back and explore some more.
No.
What I draw about you is
No
none of your-
rubber
I just wanna see
necking.
how it's done. That's what I wanted to see. I wasn't even really looking at the picture. I was looking at the stuff off to the side.
Okay. A lot of people wouldn't believe you, but I will.
It's true. I like surprises, so.
Okay. So it's Tom and Lori and Daisy, right?
Yeah. Lori is Lori.
I know.
Okay.
Remember the name badge.
Oh, duh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
That's really cool. I like your rose-colored glasses.
Thanks.
But that's what lights you up. I know you have
Yeah.
an intense need to keep the details in order, but
Yep.
it's his love of life that
Yeah.
lights you up.
There you go. I love it. That's
Incredible.
Awesome. Very cool.
Oh my
How
gosh.
fun. That is so fun.
I'll save it for you.
Wow.
Oh, but I'm going to tell you what I do. So my website is
Yeah.
crueltyfreecartoons.com. So like the absence of cruelty, so I'm not going to destroy somebody.
Okay.
And when I work, I mean, I'm hyper aware that people are right away, their energy is going towards what they're afraid of having be seen.
Yeah.
And it's not my job to destroy them. It hurts to hurt people. And I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I got a cartoon when I was a kid once, and I was so traumatized."
Yeah.
Or someone drew this horrible picture of me. It was kind of funny for a laugh, but I really felt painful afterwards. So I'm not about trashing people. I want to celebrate what makes them feel alive and what makes them tick.
Yeah.
That's what I focus on. So that's my perspective on it.
Cool.
And I've been 20 years, and it's
You've been doing this for 20 years now?
well, not in color for about 12 at parties with the computers.
Yeah.
But at drawing at parties for 20 years.
Wow.
And it was once again I stepped into something. I was too afraid to do it, but it was in 1997. I was kind of between animation jobs. I was going to go back to the oil fields to make some money because I was in a place where I needed to. And I finally said yes to this one artist who broke his arm and he couldn't do a party. And it was a weekend. I do two events over the weekend. And in that weekend, in 8 hours, I made $1,000. And right then and there, I go, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then later, I actually ended up meeting the next year. I met who became my former wife, but we were together for a few years. And we were cycling around Hawaii, and this is around 99, maybe 2000. We cycled around Maui, and then we were in Oahu. I was in that Royal Hawaiian Mall, and I met one of the cartoonists there. And he told me before the Gulf War, when the war theater was in Asia, he was making 6 figures a year. And we did a cartoon exchange, and we did shitty pictures of each other, but the literal thought in my mind is that I can do shitty pictures. and then that's kind of got me more into it. And then I had things along the way just sort of pushed me that, where I got into it more and more. And even now I want to go more into speaking on stage and, teaching and drawing as I go along. Because I have a lot of bandwidth for seeing things that many people don't. I figure it's valuable to others just to hear it. So
It's amazing.
thank
It's
you.
incredible.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We will link it below in the description below. And give it to us again. What's the website?
It's crueltyfreecartoons.com. I was conceived in the wilds of Canada, but I work all over the world.
Very good.
I fit in any kind of social situation. I sit in the highbrow stuff, and I can do a tractor pull. It's all good.
There you go.
I love it.
All right.
I'm comfy with all of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you guys.
Yep.